For the players.
Fucking wrestling.
Going to be a quality show. I'm Ryan Betson.
Got what Ollie had. I'm Max Cooper.
And I'm Paul James.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast with over like a lot more than 50 years of playing PlayStation and a lot more than about 15 years in the games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation must stick to its 18-second intro or Ryan will have a cry. It also happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join in the conversations, check out our socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram. All of those links can be found in the description below.
Look, it's much easier for me to edit this way. But if you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/popcultures and watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Watch us on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist. Look, gents, it took a really long time, but for the players, for a window of time, just like every other PlayStation show, it seems, we are now a triple threat. We're a threesome.
And therefore doomed to fail, like every other PlayStation show.
Very true. Everyone's going to have it. You know, we've been surviving the trek the most, but that could turn around at almost any moment. So, guys, gals, non-binary pals, this is the trio. This is the look for the players for at least until when's footy back? March?
Yeah, March. February, March.
Not bad. But how are we, gents, while I choke on my own saliva?
Go, Max.
Yeah, not too bad. I woke up with a bit of a head cold this morning. Our youngest has been crook for about a week, and I am now sick because of him.
Yeah, like as I'm coughing my guts up and muting the recording, but not muting the Discord. So sorry, gents. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It wasn't immediately after returning from Perth, but in the last like 2 days, I'm like, oh, there's a bit of a tickle, there's a bit of an itch, and now this cough is starting to come through, and it's that real dry cough that like sits up here. I think I have some lozenge in the medicine.
You're just paying
cupboard.
The price of making the wrong decision last week.
Look, to me, it was the right decision. I had a great time. I didn't get evacuated out of a building, but Padge, how are you, though?
I'm going all right. It's just another week. There's little things going on behind the scenes that I don't want to publicly disclose yet, but no, keep busy. Always exciting. Never a dull moment.
No. But yeah, we have.
Sorry, they're not gaming related things. So sorry, that's not as as spicy.
Yeah, not as we understand. Padge comes from a much higher prestige in the games media space, and in turn, he will come with like cool little, can't talk about this, can't do that, got these cool things working on in the background, doing this, doing that, whatever, awesome list of things.
Yeah, this isn't one of them.
But it's not one of them. So you have this incredible list of things, and then you have additional things on top of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, just work things, full time work, the actual real stuff, the one that I actually get bread and butter pay for. So
nice. Well, I too would like more work. So. Thumbs up all around. But I did have a bit of a week off work, however, as I went over to Perth.
I want more work. You can do your training induction. You can do your induction for your new job this weekend. Nah, sorry, I'm out of state.
Yeah, no, I'm fine now.
Nah, I'm still out of state.
Yeah. I was like, well, we moved it to this week.
Do you actually want more work or not? I can't tell at this
I absolutely
point.
do. It's just bad timing. It's one of those things that, just when I went into the interviews, I'm like, I'm not going to be around on these days. And they went, okay. So there you go. But yes, there wasn't a show last week, as I'd hope some of you noticed. I was over in Perth at the WWE. I had an absolute blast of a time. Got to see a Raw, a SmackDown, and a pay-per-view. I had a genuinely story-changing moment at the end of Raw, which is awesome. Granted, at the result of Seth Rollins jumping from one corner of the ring to the other, landing on his shoulder and just destroying all the soft tissue and joint in there. So he's like, well, we're going to have to change the storyline because I have to go away for the next 8 months. So that sucks. But, injuries do happen in a physical contact sports entertainment. didn't want to add sports in there because, real sports fans in the room. I didn't want to, start a fight or anything. But look, it was lovely.
Yeah, none of your acting bullshit.
It's just jacked theater kids, dude. Like, it's exactly what it is. It's amazing. But it was awesome. I got to catch up with some friends. Got to see some great wrestling. So big shout out once again to WWE Australia for kindly providing me tickets to be able to go to it. And of course, my friends over at Down Under the Ring, which allowed me to have a place to talk about it and have a reason to go. But I know it's neither of your two interests, so I'm not going to bore you anymore. Instead,
I've just gotten like a really harsh reminder as to like the result of me choosing to come on this show, because like in the past I would just go plus 30, plus 30, plus 30, plus 30 until I get past the wrestling segment. Now I've got to endure it.
Well, notice I kept it down to under 2 minutes just for you. Anyway, you two gents though, you went down to the Melbourne Convention Centre for PAX Australia 2025. Now, Max, you were only there for the day. Padge, you were there for a couple more. Max, how was your experience?
Look, PAX for the last couple of years has been very quiet. I don't know how you felt, but it felt like it was much more empty this year than it was even last year, which was still
I understand
small.
I do bring a presence to the space, but it's just 1 year, dudes. It's fine.
But I was there I got there at like 8 o'clock in the morning, picked up badges, all that stuff. And then I ended up taking off at about 3 because one of my kids called me and they're like, hey, we're not feeling well. Can you come home? We just want dad. And I'm like, eh.
See, look, I was in WA, as I mentioned. So I forgot about time zones. You messaged me at what was like 12 o'clock WA time. You're like, I'm going home. I'm like, that's fair. His kid's sick. I'm like, fucking busy. Quick day, though. Like, I was only there for like 3 hours. That's a bit piss poor, Max.
No, I went home at 3 o'clock our time. I was going to, like, Ali rang me. She's like, just stay. They'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I can watch, because the only reason why I was sticking around was to go and watch the Ghost of Yotei panel. And then I'm like, it's the main stage. I can just watch it from home. And then I ended up going home. Turns out my son was actually super sick. Oh. So it was the right choice to make.
Was he all right? What's going on?
He had 2 ear infections and croup.
Ooh.
That was fun.
All right.
So we had to
while
take
you guys
like
chat, I'm gonna see if I can find some
of,
sort of cough suppressant because I'm gonna annoy myself at this point.
a bunch of other crap.
Suppress the shit out of it.
So I, Paul and myself managed to rope Paul into being the cameraman for me. We did our quick whip around tour, which I think took like 5 minutes, if that, because there really wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just wandered around, spent money that I probably shouldn't have, bought a bunch of stuff for the kids, bought a bunch of board games. I played like 3 games while I was at PAX. I checked out Pokemon quickly. I played Elden Ring on the Switch, which was fine.
Hey, Bandai.
Yeah. And then it looked to be running like essentially what is the PS4 version of Elden Ring, but the way, because obviously Switches are handheld consoles, they had them locked to a table.
Them chained down, yeah.
And it was not in a comfortable position to play a game like Elden Ring on a weird angle, having to not have the freedom to move the device around a little bit. But it was fine. It's just, as the years have progressed, it's kind of gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. With
I would argue
PlayStation
the
having
focus has changed. Like the focus of PAX as a convention has drastically changed.
Yeah, more of that tabletop bullshit that we don't want. Get out of here.
Oh, he's up.
Stand by and fight me.
PlayStation having literally no presence again. Xbox had a tiny little room where you could discuss what was and was not an Xbox. And then Nintendo just took up what felt half of the fucking
Sorry, I love that, because
floor.
in my head, you just kind of walk in and you go, is this an Xbox? And they go, yes. And like, is that an Xbox? Yes. Is that
That's
an
pretty
Xbox?
much
Yes.
pretty much what it was. They had some of the ROG Xbox allies playable. They had some PC set up. They had what appeared to be some Xboxes set up.
Yeah, behind curtains they had Ninja Gaiden 4 and Outer Worlds 2, but of course they, as of the timing of PAX, they're like 2 weeks away from launching anyway.
Yeah.
Nintendo was a bit similar, really.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo was massive
Pokemon,
though.
That was less than a week. Pokemon was less than a week away at that point. And then you've got Kirby.
Not that it stopped the thousands of people lining up for hours to play it slightly early.
So Reverend Puck in the chat, it's a real-time capture. Like to test if you're a robot. Is this an Xbox? Like they cover one eye. Is this an Xbox? Not a robot.
The Sims had an archery range set up for some reason. That was cool.
Hey, what? I missed that.
Did you not do the archery range of The Sims? It was right next to Xbox.
No.
Um,
I think I saw The Sims and my eyes glazed over and I walked away.
I would have checked. Like,
Yeah,
Sims is an IP that still to this day interests me because I had a lot of fun on it back in the day. But knowing full well that it's so fucking expensive, it's so huge that it's not made for me anymore. But like, and especially with weird, because even the Sims present last year was pretty low key too. It's just a picture op. So at least this year there's a bow and arrow. Like, what was there a reasoning, Max, as to why there was an archery range?
I think it was like Sims Social. I have no idea.
Is it kind of like in the game, kind of like axe throwing or something as a mini game, or
maybe
Horizon DLC or something?
Possibly. Who knows? Who knows?
PlayStation was there after all.
And then Cult of the Lamb was back with their chapel, but no wedding this time around.
Oh, no fairies.
Doug was so relieved about that though.
That was the
first thing he said. Nah, fuck, I can't. They were great. He goes, I can't put in that much work again.
For context, Doug is the gentleman who's the rep here in Australia for Devolver Digital. Just when we're name dropping folks, probably should explain like, hey, this is that person. Like, who's Doug? But
that guy that organizes weddings at PAX.
Yeah, he is the lamb. No.
Yeah, but it was fun. I got to see a lot of people that I only see once a year, so that was nice.
Our good friend Jono was there with a booth. As we've talked about in the past, he's assisted with a number of games in the background. Trigger Witch was his big one. He's written for a couple others. We know he's writing for Colin Moriarty as part of his fantasy thing.
On the RPG,
I believe that's common knowledge. Actually, no, he's mentioned on the show, so yes, it is common.
No, it is. Yeah, that's public knowledge.
Because I have to really quickly edit the show if that was the case. But he was there with a different game. Did either of you guys check it out?
I did.
I went and saw him, but I did not play.
Yeah, I managed to break that game on multiple occasions. I just got the dodgy run where things weren't quite working at different points. But the core of that game is absolutely fantastic. I guess for comparison for people, it's very Portal-like in some ways. Certainly, kind of presents in that similar sort of fashion. You've got the first person perspective. You've got a gun in your hands. It's not a gun though. You use it to solve puzzles. Like at face value, people go, "Oh yeah, okay, right, I know this."
Now the reason Jono would be there would be for the story and the written part of it. Were you able to witness much of that?
Yeah, no. I mean, look, it was a very limited vertical slice, and it seems like that's like some of those elements are still filtering their way through as the game kind of shifts and the puzzles kind of evolve. That's going to kind of determine and shape some of the dialogue a little bit. But it's coming along really well. I think Jono's doing a great job. One of the things that impressed me most, and so I went and played it on the Friday, and I didn't actually get back to it the next day, but it was made crystal clear what their plans were. The whole thing is, and despite the fact that it's this Portal-like puzzle game, they also have tried to take a lot of inspiration from the worst series of Zeldas in the that there exist, the Breath of the Wild.
I was going to say Breath of the Wild. Gross.
Yeah, the ones that just aren't Zelda. Fuck that noise. But anyway.
Spelt Minish Cap wrong.
Minish Cap's amazing. Shut your mouth. Anyway.
This summer of Padge is going to be fun.
I'll be obnoxious and insufferable, and you'll never want me to come back. But they've kind of taken a bit of inspiration from those games in the sense that there can be multiple ways to skin a cat. There can be multiple ways to kind of solve to get through this particular puzzle. And one of the things that they'd observed on the first day that I actually went to go do as well is there was one segment. It was one of the final puzzles in the demo where there was this big big vertical standing water tank that you had to use your different powers. And we kind of worked through the actual or the current way to solve it. But you've also got these kinetic powers as well, and you can pick up things and fling them around and whatever. And one of they had a lot of big buzzsaw blades floating around. So I picked up those buzzsaw blades and like, if I kinetically throw these things at the big tank, the water that's inside that I need to fill up this big empty expanse in front of me, it's going to cut it open and I'm going to get the water that I need. But currently that's not built into the game. So Clint, lead dev on it, that was his project on Friday night. He went and made that a potential solution.
Well, so come Saturday, you could go in and it would work?
Yeah, well, that was the plan. I don't know if that's how it eventuated. Maybe you didn't quite get it all done overnight, and so they just reverted to the same build. I didn't go back and check it out the next day. But that was certainly the plan, and I think that's even if they didn't get that executed for PAX in the end, I love the direction that they're going in there, where it's, you know, again, many ways to skin a cat, lots of flexibility in your choices and the way you can kind of solve it, which is very Breath of the Wild inspired. Which is like, if I do this and I combine these pieces, you know, I can kind of jerry rig myself a solution here that's not necessarily the one that the developers had in mind.
And even the fact that they're willing to take that like immediate feedback on board and go, oh.
Well, they just watched people doing it the same way over and over. It wasn't even, why can't I do this? Though I'm sure someone, you know, a few people asked that. It was more just, we're observing this is the way that people want to do it. And logically, it makes sense as a way to do it.
Which makes me wonder, why had they not considered it before, right?
It depends on where you're at in development.
True. But then again, depending on how deep you are, it's forest for the trees, right? Like, that seems like a reasonable assumption for those playing it for the first time. But if you're focusing somewhere down the line, you're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that in that moment. Yeah.
Playtesting is a wonderful thing.
But Max, was there any games that you checked out?
No, not really. Apart from the stuff that was at the that I mentioned earlier while you were gone, nothing really tickled my fancy this year.
I played chugged a whole bunch of cough liquid and it tastes like asshole. So let's hope it fixes the cough, because it was disgusting.
It won't. I played like 3 games in total. I walked around the indie section for a bit, but nothing really grabbed me. A few of the stuff that was there is currently available on the Steam.
Next Fest.
I think they're running a Next Fest at the moment for the next. Actually, it ends tomorrow. So I checked out a few things, but on the day, not really. Nothing was really grabbing me. I didn't even check out many board games this year, which I normally do. Nothing was really. It just seemed so lackluster.
But one thing, like we mentioned earlier, that, you know, PlayStation weren't there in any capacity, which was not true. They kind of were. They were there.
There's not much to miss.
Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 things really. So we had the campaign director for Ghost of Yotei do a keynote, as well as have a chat with both of you. Padge, how'd it go for you?
My audio corrupted the first time around, so we organised a redo. So I've already recorded that one, but now I've just got to edit it together so it can go out for publishing. So Rob Davis will be on a little surprise Dev Diary episode that's just going to pop up on feeds nice and soon. But he was awesome to get to chat to. I guess the nature of the conversation is very different to what Max's would have had, because mine's obviously, the nature of Dev Diary is very much about the person and their adventure. But there was some really great insights there. Certainly weird when you start asking the same questions a second time, kind of knowing the answers already.
Yeah.
Knowing that what game would you love to be credited for, and he says SingStar.
Oh, yeah. If I could have SingStar on my resume, I'd be pretty stoked.
So, yeah.
It
is weird doing it a second time. But
our good friend Kat in the chat, who I think about often, and I'm like, oh, I should message, and then I totally forget because brains. Says, way to make me miss PAX.
Well, come back, Kat.
Come back. So,
that easy.
Let's look. There's not a whole lot there to experience, like in terms of the games.
People.
It's the people. So people like yourself, Kat. That is what made PAX. So yes, we would love to see you back.
It's a way to catch up with friends once a year.
Oh, most definitely.
It was actually the best year for the people park because Betson wasn't there.
Fucking bang on, right?
Actually, that was the highlight of my weekend, was just everyone trashing you for just leaving everything to me. You're like, because I was talking to Dylan. Dylan's like, so what did he leave you? I'm like, oh, he took all the good mics. He's like, what a dick. I'm like, I know, right?
Well, yes, but also like I left you with the gear that we use every other year, so it's not like it's a bad setup. But I'm glad your chat with Rob went well, Padge. Now, for those that may not have seen it, our chat, I say our chat, I didn't do fucking shit. Max's chat with Rob is up on our YouTube. It's up on the podcast feeds. Like, for one of your first like big honking interviews, you smashed it, dude. You fucking smashed it.
I had some good fun, and Rob made it very easy. He is a very approachable person.
I like his demeanor. He's kind of like calm and chill and very low spoken. You know, he's just like, okay, cool.
The conversation went well. And then even after the interview ended, I think I stuck around for another 10 minutes after that, chatting with him about board games and other stuff that that I was playing. And then
didn't you two like hold hands and skip back to the convention center or something?
No, so he left with me because he was going to go do something, and the guys from Well Played were waiting as we left.
Sucked in, Zach.
I saw their interview as well, and it was actually really, really strong also. So please go check out our good friends at Well Played as well.
So that was good fun. And then, went back and had a chat with Paul and Kieran from Explosion. And then I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to go home. And then I got stuck on a train for 3 hours. And Paul's like, hey, I've left too because we were evacuated.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in Perth. And I look at my phone and I get this thing. Originally, I get a notification from Discord, from like the PAX Discord. And I was like, hey, everyone, false alarm. I'm like, what the fuck happened? So I pull up Twitter and everyone's like, yeah, like good, X amount of tens of thousands of bodies just all forced to be kicked out of the convention center at once. Now, Max, you weren't there. Padge, you were there.
I was.
What happened?
The timing sucked because I was like 30 seconds from walking out of the media room, going to my car and driving home. And so that added another half hour to my day. But I wasn't stuck in the train for 3 hours, so I guess I'll take it.
Sucks so much.
So, firstly, shout out to social media who made all of the best jokes. I think as soon as I saw it posted on Channel 7, I saw they saw a girl, or someone's BO, or those sorts of things. Like,
my immediate thought was someone's swamp ass set off a toxic sensor somewhere. I was like, it's fucking asbestos, it's arsenic, it's literal arsenic. It's bad. So
props to the arseholes out there that made their jokes, but they were pretty funny. I got right around them. Ultimately, false alarm. Wouldn't rule out that some little edgy tween was going, oh, what if I set off the fire alarm? And they did it, and so everyone got kicked out. But then like the whole management of the thing was pretty chaotic. So, okay, we've identified it's a false alarm. Let's get everyone in. But then there was no system to it whatsoever. So they've gone and let all the they've just gone, crack the doors open, and the public comes piling in. And so given the interruption, I'm like, I'm going to quickly run in there, see if I can speak to someone, work out, on our PR side, get some insight into what actually went on, because at that point, we didn't know that it was a false alarm. And so I go piling in there, can't find anyone. And all right, fuck it. I'll go to the car and go home. Only, of course, then to, get kind of yelled at by a security guy as I was walking back out. He's like, get out, get out, get out. I'm like, what? He goes, we don't have any media,
exhibitors.
any of the actual exhibitors reps in there yet. They've just gone and let everyone in, and all the exhibitors are still trying to make their way in themselves, which made sense because I walked over to the Nintendo booth and people were just like jumping on consoles and playing games straight away. And
I was going to ask, did it become a little bit of
unchecked? It's also why I couldn't find anyone.
I was going to say, did it come a bit of the Dawn of the Dead moment? It's just fucking chaos. Everyone's sprinting, running, and did anyone get looted?
It's video games.
Everyone slowly lumbered their way to Pokemon, I guess.
Yeah, they shuffled their way over. They might have stolen a whole bunch of pins and shit.
But look, the
looting has begun.
The board game section just gets decimated.
But look, even though from what both of you have said, and the general consensus is, PAX is still missing a lot of the pizzazz that it had many moons ago. So I am bummed that this is the first one I've missed in 10 years, including, we still did stuff during the COVID era. So to miss it was a bummer, but I'm very glad with the choice that I made. And I'm bummed that I didn't get to see all the folks. But
you make the right choice next year.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They won't be back in October next year. I think they learned their lesson. It's sold out, but they could have done more. They could have done a bigger thing.
Okay.
I think there was genuinely a bit of crossover audience. Like our good friend Brendan White, who had he was there. So he flew over Sunday night Monday morning to go to the show Monday night. So he did PAX, then was able to make over for the show. But I imagine there was many folks that would have done both if they had the ability to do so, or many that chose to go to Perth instead of going to PAX, or vice versa. But for us, we look at it differently, right? We look at these events in a very different way. And as Max pointed out earlier, it's hard for us because PlayStation have never really been there in a prominent sense since pre-COVID. So the last 5 PAXs 3, I guess, have not had the reason that we would go, compared to even like, funny enough, in my memories on Facebook recently, it was showing 2018, and I remember sharing like the whole, PlayStation Australia made a post like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're bringing. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible. I was so excited in 2018. Little did I know what was going to happen. But as general punters, do you think PAX still delivers?
Yeah, I think still for the most part. You get your panelists coming out, whether it's Rob or Randy Pitchford and the team. They talk about Borderlands and you can go raid the Nintendo booth. There are plenty of cool indies to check out. For those who are into their tabletop and board games, etc. There's plenty of that there as well. I think it still fills the bucket for most people. We like for the three of us, and I think many others in a similar position, we of course will have probably a lesser view of it, simply because with the access that we get to and several of these things,
look, nothing will beat.
We've already got it, or we've already played it, or whatever.
Nothing will beat 2017 when I literally got to play Sea of Thieves on a fucking boat. On the Bollywood side, that was dope. That was a genuine dope activation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And as of yet, nothing's able to beat it.
But even like the last couple of years, was it Bethesda had events on at bars outside of none of that.
They didn't do that this year.
None of that was really happening.
Well, they didn't really have any big major releases.
They didn't have anything. That's the thing. They didn't really have anything to show.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just one of those things. It's now very much a, as you mentioned before, like the board game side takes up literally half of the convention center.
Yeah, I feel like it's slowly encroaching into like a bit more down the middle rather than kind of.
And then half of what we had access to on the game floor was either stalls or PC parts. Yeah. Like as a console player,
was our good friend Ethan there with his dope PCs?
He was, but I didn't see him.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think he was working flat chat.
Yeah, it's the one time a year I harass him about my PS5 controller.
Does he still have it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God.
It's my Dark Souls one too.
So what you're saying, Pat?
I was going to say what I would say to the PlayStation people out there, PlayStation Australia people who are undoubtedly listening right now.
I doubt it, but if you are, hey.
Undoubtedly listening right now. Props to them. They're amazing. And did some awesome things for us over the course of that weekend, despite not being on the show floor. My stance, and it's the same for Xbox as well, is that even if you don't have that much, and I know there's a cost, a pretty hefty one, but also you're parts of multi-billion, trillion-dollar corporate companies. So the PAX show floor cost is something you can easily...
But look, and this is the thing, like bit of inside baseball from chatting to Ethan, the prices for PAX in terms of being a booth holder have grown exponentially. And even those 2 years that COVID prevented it from happening, they did not return the deposits or the cost to any of the people, any of the exhibitors. So there's already a lot of bad blood, hence why it's getting, thinner in terms of the, from my understanding, like the show floor it's not as packed as it once was. It's, everyone's got kind of slightly bigger booth, but they're all a bit spaced it differently. So yeah, I think the cost, even for those multi-trillion-dollar companies, as you mentioned, Padge, or however many billions of dollars, there's still a threshold at what you're willing to part with, I guess.
Yeah, so what I'd want to see going forward is I absolutely, firstly, and for fairly obvious reasons, want to see PlayStation and Xbox there in a prominent capacity. But even if they don't have much of their own stuff to show, lean on your third parties. Obviously Max kind of referenced the Elden Ring experience earlier. Where Nintendo, like they had their Pokemon, they had their Metroid, they had their Kirby, they had their Hyrule Warriors, etc. Like they ticked all their boxes for their first party stuff. But then you could get over there and you could go play Hollow Knight. You could go play you had your Kirby.
They had Hollow Knight, Hades, Borderlands 4, Little Nightmares 3, Elden Ring. So they're like 5 or so third party games. All
that these companies need to do is go, hey, we'll get the space, and of course we'll foot most of the cost, but if you contribute X percentage, we'll host your games here. And that get for the big AAA, the big AAA third parties go, great, we don't have to commit a huge amount of money here to get some pretty significant exposure. Then you can obviously top it up with the indies and those sorts of things along the way. They don't need to have, hell, even if the timing wasn't right or they didn't have a very public facing demo of Ghost, for example. If I just use the PlayStation example, and obviously it's a recent release, they didn't have to necessarily have Ghost there, but they could still set it up and put a whole bunch of playable other things from third parties.
Set up a booth and sell all your fucking exclusive DualSense controllers.
All the cool shit that's in Walmart right now in the US. Like I get people been sending me the pictures of it. I'm like, But what you're saying, Patch, is not out of the ordinary. Like, if we think back in the day,
That's how it used to be. That's how it used to be.
Like, our good friend Kat, we met her at the PlayStation booth with Resident Evil 7. They built a little booth inside the booth of that creepy ass house from Resident Evil 7, and that's where we met Kat. Right, and then at EB Expo at a different year, they were connected to EA. They had the big Battlefront setup, and when Call of Duty was multi-platform a number of years ago at PAX, they had a big section connected to PlayStation. So it's not it's not unprecedented for them to do that connection to support the those bigger titles. And right now, PlayStation don't really need to do so for that that from a brand share or a market value. Like, everyone kind of knows where they sit, but it wouldn't hurt.
I think it can still massage the relationships that you've got with the third parties though as well. And for the indies that you do work with, and there's plenty of them where they have PlayStation Plus exclusivity, or it's in the extra catalog or whatever it happens to be. These are good ways to go, hey, this is why this is worthwhile. Look at all these games you can play.
Or even like a more recent release, say like Baby Steps, right? Everyone, I know the outlook on it is a little bit interesting. I think with a stack of fun. But, I have seen some consensus and, some of the podcasts that I know you and I listen to, Padge, they've talked about how it's like, it's one of them, multiplayer slop games. So
friend slop or whatever people are calling it.
Yeah, friend slop. Like, so if they could have, say, Baby Steps there, and people can literally try it and go, oh, and then suddenly Devolver has a big presence, and we already know, like, they've already been at States of Play. There's nothing to say there's already an associated connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a small thing, especially if you can pass some of the cost onto an EA or onto a Bandai Namco or onto whoever it happens to be to kind of justify being there, to then have a big optical win.
Absolutely. But look, PAX is a great way to find some new titles to play, pick up some games. But let's talk about what we have been playing. Now, originally, the plan for today was to have my lovely partner Phoebe come in because, excuse me, in our house at this moment in time, we have played about a collective 55 to 60-ish hours on Ghost of Yotei. I myself have played 6 of them. My son is about 20 of them, and Phoebe is kind of the rest. Actually, I think James is about 21-ish now, and then Phoebe's the rest. Like, she has gone to absolute town on it. She's currently dealing with a migraine. She's wrapped up in the dark. It's somewhere in the house. So the idea was I was going to get her to come in, share her thoughts on it, but also then share, the lovely controller that I bought her for her birthday this week. So happy birthday, Phoebe. Here is your Ghost of Yotei controller, which, lovely surprise. She had no fucking idea. It was awesome. I snuck off. And once again, Matt...
Turns out it went both ways though, right?
It did. See, because this is the thing. Max helped me out and was like, hey, Big W has one. No one else does in Geelong, but Big W does. I'm like, sick. So James and I ran down and got it. Little did I know, in the background, Max had been working with Phoebe to get me this bad boy, which is the Death Stranding 2. So in this house, like, what I love to do is I like to get things, I have, in the lounge room, I have what I call the Wall of Memories. It's a big shelf that I put things on there that when I look at that wall, I go, oh, that. Because I have a dodge-ass memory, right? The shout-outs of neurodivergency. My memory sucks ass. So I like to have things like the wall behind me where I can look at it and remember and go, oh, I remember how I felt with that. So over the many years, I have started to collect controllers that mean something to me, whether it be the 30th anniversary one, the 20th anniversary, the God of War Ragnarok controller, the Astrobot controller, the Spider-Man 2 one for James. So, in the near future, I've got the other God of War one coming. I've got the
that's out this week,
the other Astrobot one for James, so we can both have one. So it's a nice way for us to go, oh, that was a really awesome experience. So for Death Stranding 2, like, this was the first game that Phoebe and I really sat through together from start to finish and played. So having this is a lovely reminder of the awesome game that we experienced together. Because with Death Stranding 1, as I've shared in the past, like, Phoebe and I, we are, trying to have a child. And we've had some problems along the way. We've had a number of miscarriages, and it's been really hard. So be able to play a game like Death Stranding, which talks about, you know, loss and that connection with the child and all those and grief and all those things all at once, was a really nice healing experience for both of us. So being able to like now have this as well, it's just another reminder of that awesome experience we got to have together, is really, really cool. So I'm glad I was able to go, you know, to hunt this one down. So thank you, Max, for the assist. I do appreciate it. It is a lovely
with these,
controller.
like, sentimental controls. Meanwhile, I'm just like, yeah, I shot aliens. It's a bust out my Helldivers one.
Excuse me. But yeah, so I do like the controller, though. It is way nicer than I expected. That gold is super shiny. I love little scratches and dents and shit in it. But over in that time, though, Max, you have rolled credits on Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
Sorry, to wrap that up, so Phoebe will be joining us next week. She'll assume the chair. I'll fuck off, and you guys can have a big old chat about some samurai action. But sorry, Max, go on.
So I rolled credits in just under 24 hours.
Wow.
I'm still playing it. I think I might go for the plat. It looks super easily obtainable.
Yeah.
Nothing's tied to difficulty, so at this point I can just drop it down to fucking story mode and just go ham on everything and not really have to worry about...
Have you tried that yet? Putting it down into story?
No.
Oh, Phoebe's playing on story.
Satisfying.
Yeah,
It's
so
so satisfying.
Phoebe's
It's flailing.
So Phoebe's playing on story for that reason. She's like, look, she's never played like a 3D game, so using 2 thumbsticks is a whole experience in and of itself. So after watching my son play on easy, she's like, this looks kind of hard. I'm like, it says easy, dude. But, you know, so she goes, I'm going to play story. And she's having a blast. Yeah. So, like, yeah, like it's absolutely a much more enjoyable experience for her.
I pumped it up to, like, max difficulty for some of the boss fights, and... like just for shits and giggles, because you know, being a Soulsborne player, I'm like, I can do this. And then if it got annoying, like there's one fight in particular where you have to it's like a 2v1, but the second guy's just not a part of the combat at all. You can't interact with him, but he'll just shoot you in the face when you're not paying attention, dealing with the other guy, and that's really annoying.
I know it's spoilers, but are these the Saito brothers?
Maybe.
I swear. Okay, cool.
Sorry,
they're established as characters. You have an understanding of what they're doing.
I put it back down to what I was playing on for the entire game, which was medium or normal, or however you want to reference it. But again, you know, the story's great. Very different, contrasting to what Jin went through in Tsushima as to what Ansu goes through in Yotei. There are definitely weaker components to the story as part of the Yotei 6. So essentially each of the Yotei 6 kind of gets their own backstory and Atsu's own personal growth journey through each of those stories. Some of them not as good as the others. In my opinion, Kitsune was the best out of all of them.
Agreed.
Which is a struggle for Phoebe because that's the first one she did. So the rest.
It's the first one. It's the first one I did too. Combat in this game is far more satisfying than in the first game, in my opinion. As much as I enjoyed the stance dance of Ghost of Tsushima, where you use the different stances to beat opponents, just having extra weaponry is cool. It kind of changes the gameplay flow from combat to combat.
It's also fun to look at. What's the sickle with the chain?
The Kurosagami.
Like, the animations alone in this game are stacked. So like that big swing with the maul at the end, that looks like it would fucking suck.
So
to be on the receiving end, yeah, you wouldn't want.
Yeah, like you're watching these dudes get pelted with this literal ball and chain. I'm like, ooh, that shield that you were holding once, it's gone, and your brain is also gone.
So for a substantial part of the game, I essentially was Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, because you can set the chains on fire, and then you just fucking go ham on everything.
I assume that's something you can do with most weapons, because my son was playing. I left the room.
One of the ninja tools is to set anything on fire.
Because I left the room, and then I come back, and he's just dual katanas on fire. He's like, I'm like, how?
These kids.
Yeah, these kids.
But again, like a lot of the ninja tools make a comeback from Tsushima. So you have like what I lovingly refer to as pocket sand. You have these smoke bombs. I believe you get kunai as throwable weapons. stuff like that. I played the majority of the game without ranged weapons because I didn't realize I just had to buy them from the first person I saw. So it took me ages to get my first ranged weapon. I'm like, surely I should have one by now. I'm like three of the 6 Yotei deep, and I'm still don't have a fucking bow and arrow. Like, this would be so much easier if I could just shoot people before I get into some of these encampments. But the moment-to-moment gameplay is fun. I probably could have finished the game a lot faster had there not be canaries flying fucking everywhere, going like, "Hey man, you should check out over here."
Sorry, didn't you say you finished it in 24 hours, and you're trying to say you could finish it quicker again?
Oh yeah, I could have finished it faster. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. His ability to Golden Path games, Padge, is insane.
Well, the Golden Bird was the bane of my speedrun existence. It's like,
you had that. You had the bird throwing you off your game, and you still finished it 16 hours before I did. Now I didn't Golden Path it, but fuck me, Jesus, mate.
But you're not good at games.
No, I didn't die. I just
You didn't die.
We're not arguing that point. We're arguing your ability to finish a game super quickly. Suspicious.
I mean, look, half.
How much was that in the pause menu?
On the couch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much of that was spent in the pause menu, dealing with children or?
Zero.
Like
Zero.
that.
It's just the sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah.
Like, screw them kids. Like, it's when the PlayStation's on, that's mum's time to pay attention to the kids.
But like, it got to the point where you could by the end I could clear out encampments in under a few minutes just by having the standoff makes a return, and at one point I could kill 5 enemies on a standoff before the combat even started, and then by that time you fill your rage meter, so then everyone gets scared of you. You get a few free kills there, and then all you have to deal with is the boss, and you kind of just disarm him and then throw his own weapon at his face and he'll die. So
disarmament and then picking up and hiking it at someone's face rules. Like, you don't need ranged weapons when you can just throw someone's sword at their face.
Yeah. But overall, I much enjoyed this game over Tsushima from a single player story component, but until Legends gets added to Ghosts of Yotei, Tsushima is still taking the cake. Because Legends was just so phenomenal. I did have a little chat about Legends with Rob. That was fun.
Was that on? Because there's obviously the on-camera mention. Was there an on-camera?
That was a little bit of off-camera. So I'm very excited for that.
Wow.
Not that I haven't been.
He's posted all the details on Twitter. Don't worry about it.
And I think over
Max Cooper,
I think over Christmas I'm going to Sherpa you through the raid. Am I?
Yep. I still haven't played Legends at all. So
seeing as
I definitely want to tick off before there's kind of no going back by playing Yoteis.
Well, seeing as I am enjoying what the comparatively small amount of time with Yotei, like, I might jump in with you, like. But I think the bright, colourful world of Yotei is way more fun than the very dark.
Joel in, because I don't think Joel's done it either, and we can stream it.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
And it'll be me trying to explain everything to you, you fucking chuckleheads.
Absolutely, but no, like I said, it is enjoyable. Like, I've barely not done much more. As you gave it all its praises in the last recording, so we'll leave that one there. Phoebe will be joining next week to share her thoughts, her first major solo game experience. I'm very curious what she has to say. Outside of that, though, Max, something I know that you and I have been playing, Padge, I'm not quite sure about yourself, but that is Battlefield 6. So a big thank you to the team over at EA. They provided Max and I a code for Battlefield 6. So there was a lot of pressure on this game coming in, with the previous Battlefield being a whole kind of poo. And, in the world where Call of Duty no longer has the prestige or the respect it once had, it is very much in need of a good competitor. And hopefully it's within Battlefield 6. Now, Max, have you been playing the multi or the campaign?
I have played. You throw me under the bus here. I've played like maybe 2 hours total. I have played the first campaign mission. I'm predominantly playing multiplayer, and
that's great. I can talk campaign. You can talk.
I'm kind of just screwing around with the
portal.
What is it? The Battlefield portal, which is essentially the Forge mode in Halo 3.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I'll quickly touch on the campaign, and then we can talk the multi. Now, Padge, you've not played this at all?
No, I played the campaign. I had the game pre-release. So
fantastic.
I've done the campaign.
Well, let's chat campaign for a minute. So, the premise of it, as it stands, is NATO has fallen at the hands of a group called PAX, which also made me chuckle really hard. and then an incident happens, initiates the game. It's X amount of years later. Like every fucking first-person army-based campaign ever, you can't just experience it in real time. It always has to be someone interrogating someone or like breaking into their house and going, tell me the story, and then you're reliving the game through memories rather than just playing the fucking game and experiencing it as it happens, which to me would be way more entertaining. My initial
they haven't
thought...
worked out how to do it yet, to be fair. It just can't do it.
It's not AI generated, therefore
it's an easy story, but
it needs to be.
Yeah, well, like once they suss out AI enough to be like, hey, here's a new idea, rather than just all the old ideas. But I have put in 3-4 of the campaign missions at this point. Gameplay is fun. I'm enjoying it. It does feel a little too much hoorah, like America Great army stuff. But
so it's more Department of War than Department of Defense.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. However, what really was interesting to me is, and I imagine both of you are the same, and maybe many of the listeners at home as well. For us here in Australia, these games always come out in that October, November sort of window, right? So it's right in that spring feeling. So the other day when I was playing, it was like our first real day of spring. It was warm outside. It was nice. It was blue skies. And I was playing some Battlefield. So like I did get a couple of, those weird like deja vu, throwback, nostalgic feelings of like playing, Call of Duty back in the day over the spring break. It's a good feeling to sort of have. And I think because the campaign does feel in a lot of ways like an old Call of Duty campaign, I think that's probably kind of where those connectors happen for me. Would you agree, Patch?
I mean, look, I don't have the nostalgia thing. I wasn't a Call of Duty, Battlefield, anything kind of FPS guy outside of Resistance. Through that kind of era of the late teens, early 20s. So, yeah, I guess I don't have that kind of connection to it. But, I mean, I didn't mind my experience. Like, so you've said, what'd you say? You've played four missions or thereabouts so far from the campaign? There's 9 all up. I've played through the entire campaign. It's about 4 to 5 hours long. And that's not like I golden pathed it, Max.
The only way you can play a linear game.
It's the only way you can play it. I just wanted to throw that in there. Look, it feels great to play. The whole Pax Armada story is, I think it's interesting, but again, there's more that they can do with the execution of the whole thing.
It looks good.
It does look very good. It plays very well. I like the scenarios that they've built for them. But then, it's just, look, how much do people care about story? I mean, clearly not when you look at all the analytics that we see from Call of Duty specifically, kind of year in, year out, the number of people that actually play the campaign, let alone finish it.
And in the same way that the packets for Battlefield 6 are separated, you can choose to just download multi or just download single player, which is
like I'm looking at the trophy completion rate. And admittedly, this is just PlayStation, so I'm not factoring in the 2 people that bought it on Xbox and then the PC community. But 11.4% of people who've actually achieved the campaign like the final campaign trophy, which is probably high based on the normal numbers we tend to hear, at least about Call of Duty. But it's kind of crazy to me when the campaign is as brief as it is. Like, that's one night.
Yeah.
Just take one night away from your mates.
Excuse me.
Tell them to go fuck off and go play in the traffic for a bit while you sit down and play your Battlefield campaign. And just,
how they could solve that problem is just make the campaign multiplayer as well.
Well, which is interesting because I would agree with that.
Do you even dare? I don't know if you potentially in the case of this, because it's a totally different beast to GTA, but do you even go down the GTA 5 path, which is like, game's out, can't play multiplayer for 48 hours. First 48 hours.
No one would play it for 48 hours.
It's a good way to test
they have their pre-orders, so you get all your people who've pre-ordered, of which there is still many. Like they've sold 7 million in, what was it, 3 days or something?
3 days, yeah.
like which I know we'll talk about that later on, but you get all those people that their pre-orders, they pick them up from retail or their pre-order unlocks on the PlayStation, PC, Xbox, whatever it happens to be. And if they are booted up and all they can play is campaign, they're going to play it because it's still that shiny new game. They'll play it.
But I agree.
Not all of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but you get a much larger percentage than what we're currently getting. And then that might convince them to reinvest a bit further into it too.
I would agree with Max. With the campaign having, it is with Battlefield being a squad-based game, and it has the advantage because of it. It is a shame that the campaign isn't multiplayer because the AI is okay, but they're kind of not awesome. So I would have loved to be able to play with both you gents, right? We come together and we just clear the campaign together. Like, that'd be a blast. As you said, it's just one night, easy. Yeah,
I could deal with that, but I think both, especially if they want people to actually play it, kind of forcing their hand in some ways. And again, that can encompass both things here. We can have the campaign co-op, like you can have online to facilitate the campaign co-op, but just push people to go check it out. They'll get their fill. 48 hours. We're talking 2 days. That's your chance to check out this 5-hour campaign and then be multiplayer ready for Monday, whatever it happens to be.
Look, it's a tough situation to be in, but Max, you are very much playing this like the average person. You have gone straight into the multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
How? Because we both played the beta a little while ago, and my immediate thought was the time to kill me is fucking fast, but the time to kill anyone else is painfully slow.
No, the time to kill is fine.
It's gone better? Good. Fantastic.
I mean, I never had a problem with it. It was fine.
I felt like if I had 19 bullets into a dude and I get 3 shots, I'm out.
My problem with multiplayer at the moment, and they've said that they're going to fix it, is progression is so slow. It takes so long to unlock new weapons because they're all tied to their own weapon classes. You kind of got, to unlock the best sniper, you need to get fucking 200 headshots with a different sniper to get that sniper. It's like, it takes forever. So, which is where Portal comes into play. So Portal, for some reason, and normally this doesn't, normally things like this don't work like it. When you create a private Portal server, despite the fact that it is classified as a privately hosted server, you get full XP. So at the moment, it's impossible to set up your own server because everyone's setting up fucking bot lobbies to just do farming, to unlock everything. So you can go get your 200 headshots really quickly because all the AI are just fucking stuck behind a wall and they can't move, so you can't miss. So you're knocking your 200 headshots out in half an hour.
I might have to do this before they fix it because I'm gonna be fucked after they fix this.
People are building their own game modes. So COD Shipment is one of the biggest Call of Duty maps. That was in there day one, ready to go. You could play Battlefield Shipment. Everyone's running around with fucking trench guns, going ham. Before we started recording, I was playing Only Up. So someone had built one of those parkour up in the sky tower things, and I was playing that, and I got XP at the end of it because I was doing all the things that I needed to do. So, at the moment it's all over the shop. But yeah, hopefully they will fix
the actual playing of it though. How's that?
It's fine. I don't mind it. It's a lot faster paced than what I remember Battlefield to be. My first person shooter has always been Call of Duty over Battlefield. I find Battlefield always used to be more slower and methodical, team based, whereas I could carry a team by brute force playing Call of Duty, whereas you can't. I never felt you could do that over in Battlefield. But now that the movement's kind of picked up the pace a bit, I'm having fun. I still haven't played with my mates who have all bought it as well. It's on my list of things that I need to get around to. I'm just playing so much other stuff at the moment. And then fighting for console time between myself and my daughter at the moment because Hadley just wants to play fucking Astrobot every moment of every day. Like, she hasn't gotten the platinum trophy three times over at this point.
It is funny that both you and I at coincidentally at the same time are like, this is fucked.
And when she's not playing Astrobot, she's watching fucking Astrobot YouTube videos. So it's
What are we not seeing in this game? It was like one of our games of the year that year. What are we not seeing?
fucking doing my heading. Like, it's a good game, and I like playing it, and I love that she's loving it.
Yeah, it's bright, colourful, forever challenging. Like how you choose to run it.
I just need it. I need the PlayStation console prices to come down a little bit so I can get another one.
Like I did contemplate, granted money isn't a thing that we have a lot of at the moment. It's just coming back off a string of unemployment. But they announced this week the 30th anniversary consoles are back, and it was one of those things where I looked at Phoebe and I was like, she's like, fucking no. I'm like, yeah, it's fair.
Because you're like, because Phoebe's like, you're also playing mine now, and then when you're not playing it, James is playing it. I don't have time to play it.
Yeah, like there is granted, my son's only here every fortnight, but he comes outside of that as well, and it's that weird balance, and you're the same. Like, I'm so glad that Phoebe is involved in the gaming side of life now, right? Like, excuse me, her last experience prior to like when we started dating, when she experienced like God of War Ragnarok, was like, this is what games look like now. I'm like, yeah, dude, like this is it. Because for her, it was
playing fucking Gallagher on a Commodore 64.
Well, she didn't grow up with a TV, which is an interesting thing in and of itself. But like, even then, her brothers had a PS1, and she remembers like Metal Gear Solid, so she was able to sort of see things in Death Stranding that were like reminiscent of Metal Gear. But like, yeah, no understanding of that, like that time between. So as much as I'm like, yeah, man, play, enjoy it, I can't wait. At the same part, I'm like, you're playing a game that I also want to play, and I want to experience it, and I need to experience it. I want to review it on the show. So like, if you're going to play it, that's cool, but that does mean you have to come on the show and talk about it, because I'm not going to be the guy that emails PlayStation and go, hey, I only spent 6 hours in it, I'm really sorry.
But Max finished it and he interviewed Rob, so we've
Max finished it, so he did a good part.
And you brought me on board so I can talk about Ghost and whatever. Like, you got plenty of opportunities. It's fine.
That's what I said. I'm like, look, as I said to Phoebe's like, oh, but she's like, oh, I don't want to play it in case you look at it and see spoilers. I'm like, yeah, it fucking hurts. Every time I walk into that room and it's either James or her playing it, and I'm like, I've not seen this, I have no context, and it looks like something cool, it genuinely hurts me in the insides. Like, it's a proper physical pain. But at the same time, it's also dope. And she's like, oh, I can't play. I'm like, well, yeah, I've got Max to cover it. I've got Padge to cover it. I'm in the safety. I still feel like an asshole for accepting a code and not playing it, but it's a tough balance.
It's okay. I spent like 2 weeks prior to us getting the code being like, I'm just going to tell him to give it to me because he didn't even play Yotei very well. I mean, he didn't even play Tsushima very well.
Because I didn't like Tsushima wasn't as fun. Yotei is fucking stacks better. It is stacks better. But look, what we hope to do, Maxie, I know obviously both our kids are at the game playing age. Padge, your boy's probably approaching that age now.
No, he does. Like he's much to the pleasure of Nintendo PR. He's gone through and smashed out like the original Super Mario Brothers on his own.
Oh, nice.
And
I do need to pick up Galaxy and Galaxy 2 for Hadley.
I think Galaxy was part of that triple pack back in the day.
I think Galaxy would be
the original Galaxy was part of the triple pack. But now that 2 is involved, it's part of that dual pack with that's just recently come out. So
because I think Galaxy would be an easy transition.
Yeah, it would be. He plays 2 Point Museum a lot.
It's really?
Wild for that game. Oh, and it's like crack. That game is the best.
Oh, the Museum's the one I haven't played yet, but
best one so far.
Excuse me as I continue to fucking die. It turns out this cough syrup did nothing. It's, as you said, we're taking advantage of Nintendo PR. Look, there are times, not gonna lie, that we all kind of do that, right? It's a game that we're interested in playing, and we go, oh, maybe if we get a code, we can play it with our kid, and, it all kind of comes to a thing. And I did that this week with Little Nightmares 3. Reached out, was like, this would be a blast play with my kid. A bunch of the channels my son watches on YouTube, a lot of them like that real kind of, kid-like friendly mascot horror shit. And Little Nightmares is lumped in that space. Downside, though, I was under the impression that Little Nightmares 3, in its co-op, would be local co-op. It is not. It is online only. And I got immediately bummed. However, the game, I've done 1.5-ish sort of levels, because once again, the only time I've had to play my PlayStation this weekend is been like 3 hours this afternoon. Not even. And so I jumped in Little Nightmares. So this is done by Supermassive, so it is different to the team that had done Little Nightmares 1 and 2. It is continuing thematically very much in the same vein, that almost claymation-y sort of aesthetic. It's got that real body horror feel. No dialogue. It's about you know, getting from one side of the screen, one side of the level to the other. Big, weird, creepy looking, uncomfortable bosses. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not far enough. I don't feel far enough in to be like, oh, this is so much better than 1 and 2. Supermassive took it somewhere else. But Max, I know you've been messing with it a little bit as well. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I've also only finished the first level. For the same reason. I was originally going to play it with Hadley. And then my wife came in and went, no, the fuck you're not. That's clearly way too scary for your 5-year-old daughter. I'm like,
Yeah, so James is
maybe.
8, so...
And then obviously it didn't matter because you cannot play it locally anyway. It's good fun. I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed 2 when we played it a couple of years back. It's doing the same thing where it's more cooperative based, so you have the 2 characters, each with their own ability to interact with the world around them.
So the little green person with the red hair, they have a wrench which you can use to, you know, literally whack things, and or use as a lever for various traversal puzzles, where the plague doctor has a bow and arrow which you can use to attack enemies or hit out of reach items. Essentially.
But yeah, so far it hits the atmospherical it plays into the atmosphere well. Yeah, thank you. So I'm about halfway through the second level. It's touching on things that I feel that we've seen in the past. So I'm already back in a classroom with what appears to be a really freakish teacher, which I distinctly remember in them too as well. Yeah,
that does feel very reminiscent of something else, or even the big boss in the first level, which, you know,
the gigantic baby.
It's a gigantic baby. feels very much like that real large, lack of a better term, fat character in 1 and 2. Like, just like very stylistically similar. Like, they've chosen to not stray too far from the path.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to playing more. I just, at the moment, time is tough for me between, like I said, Hadley playing. I'm back in assessment season for school. So I'm doing that at the moment as well. So my free time to play games at the moment is short, unfortunately.
But yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it though. So big shout out to Bandai Namco Australia for providing us the review code for that one. We'll have more to say over it in the coming weeks as we dick about with it some more. We'll try to organize some co-op time with it, but like, very similar to Battlefield, the AI is fine. Like, it does kind of what you need it to. But then again, the game isn't as overly complicated like Battlefield, so having as not an intense AI is not a detriment. Now, Padge, are you messing with Little Nightmares at all?
No, I'm not. I played the original one. I was pretty late to the party on it, but I got it done just in time for 2 to come out, which I then didn't play on time, and it's just continued to elude me. So one of these days I'll play 2 and then feel like I'm ready to just jump into 3. And I'm sure like they're all disconnected, and is my understanding, and I don't think it matters, but I don't know. There's no secret.
Yeah, they're all different. They're all different characters each time, from memory.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to get that sequential order. It's why that obstacle to Yakuza continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
It does, because like we just don't jump at it fast enough, and then they continue to release more of them. At least they're like doing Kiwami 2 or whatever, 3 or in the near future.
Kiwami 3. So
we'll
got
have
a bit of time.
Advantage.
It buys a bit more time.
But
never gonna happen.
Max, sorry, my apologies. Max,
Yakuza like a podcast. It's got to be a thing.
Padge, is there anything that you've played this week that we haven't discussed yet that you want to chat about?
Yeah, so obviously I kind of threw out there, a 2 point just a few minutes ago. I've been returning to that a little bit in the last week or so. The DLC for it came out a little while ago now, but they added a very like a fantasy inspired thing. It's called Fantasy Finds, with a whole bunch of new regions to kind of go and build up in and go and explore and use those to kind of add to some of your existing museums and jump in the sandbox. I referenced my son playing that quite a lot. I've just tossed him into the sandbox mode, and he just goes for it. You can kind of alter a few things there. You can turn off theft and those sorts of things, so you don't have to worry about people coming in and stealing your exhibits and all those sorts of things, which makes life just a little bit easier. It's one less thing for him to factor in, which means he can just build. There's no, like, a lot of the squeeze and the pressure comes off in terms of trying to manage the finances, because that, I heard kind of the eyebrow raise, when I referenced him playing before. There's a lot of
for me, is all the management stuff that I was like, wow, that's interesting. Yeah. Like, I'm stoked that he's doing it. For a 7-year-old,
that's a lot.
Because even I get my shit kicked in by hospital and campus.
For a 7-year-old, that would be a hell of a lot, let alone, as you just said, grown adult. So it's a lot easier when you kind of, flick a few of those settings on and off. He just continues to build it up. We killed a dragon the other day. In the whole thing, like one of the main missions to kind of progress within the map is to go and slay this dragon, and then
somehow I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
Spoilers, like amidst the fight, you then have to choose between 2 different towns that are essentially going to get wiped off the map.
You're not playing Dragon Age?
I'm not playing Dragon Age. No, this is kind of part of the Fantasy Finds edition for 2 Point Museum. So it's pretty cool. We're just kind of chipping away at that. And in the meantime, like, I committed 60, 70 hours to this game early in the year. It completely derailed all of my plans for Monster Hunter and a lot of those early, like those Q1 releases. But I'm still just kind of chipping away at it now. There's 3 trophies that I need to get the platinum in the main game. And I'm absolutely going to do it, because all I need to do is like fully train someone to level 20 now. And that's just going to naturally happen as Noah plays it.
True.
I would love for him to be have the platinum ping for him, because he'll lose his little mind over it. But
it's something powerful. I remember when James was there to help me get the final trophy for like the Spider-Man 2 platinum. That what a blast! What a feeling that was. It was so good.
So there's a few throwaway ones, but that's the one that'll push us over the I think that'll push us over the line. So I'll tick off the other ones, make sure that's good to go for him, so he can have that moment whenever it occurs. But it's been good going back to that. There are a couple of redacted things that I can't talk about at the moment, but I have been playing, just continuing to chip away at Yooka Replaylee since the re-release, remaster, whatever we want to call it, of that game came out the other week, and it is just a much better version of the original. They took all the feedback, tweaked what needed to be tweaked, rebalanced a lot of things, and even some of the stuff they just added post-release is now all in there straight away. Makes it a far more complete package. Ghost, I return to and just chip away at, because I, like Max, will chase the platinum for that one. And then Silent Hill F is something that I'm just working my way through at the moment.
Well, give us a bit of a rundown on that one. So we reached out to the team here, and they're like, yeah, we've exhausted all our PS5 codes because no one wants any other console. Do you want any other console? I'm like, no. So, Padge, tell us about the Silent Hill Fs.
Oh, look, I'm only like an hour and a half or so in, and my understanding is it's like a 9-ish hour campaign. So I'll try and make sure I have that one done before we get to the show next time. But look, this is my first Silent Hill.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I was just saying how lack of time I've got. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, get a PC code. I'll finish it by next week. This is my first one. So because for years I've never really been a horror guy. It took Matt Hewson getting Resident Evil 7 years ago and then forcing me to be the person to review it.
Well, that's the thing. I was the same. I was forever the Silent Hill guy, and then Silent Hill made a bunch of shit ass games for a while. Like, it was pretty much from Homecoming on the PS3 moving forward were all kind of shit, including Homecoming. So then I transitioned over to the, RE, at 7 and the remakes. Once again, shout out to a good friend, Kat, who hooked us up very well at the time. And I fell in love with that series. And then to come back to Silent Hill 2 remake was fantastic. And with F changing things in so many different ways, like going into that more, Japan side of it. I wouldn't say, outside of Silent Hill, because, many of the games do get you out of Silent Hill anyway. But this is more like direct and sort of like clear as day going, it's in Japan, it's not in America. I was going to say, how is that comparing? But you have no idea.
Yeah, I don't have a point of comparison. I'm just kind of treating it for what it is, and I quite like trying to navigate these spaces, and every now and then you get these big, disgusting creatures that back arch in very Exorcist style ways, coming scuttling up after you, and you, what the fuck is that? And then trying to get away from them as quickly as you can.
How are you
very
with
quickly
that?
Learning my lessons, and I'd kind of heard the feedback early on, like, this is not the game to stop and fight your way through. This is the game to dodge and run and break your line of sight. And thankfully, the game kind of highlights that fairly early on. Like, as soon as they're added, you can just break the line of sight, and then it's, I won't say problem solved, because you're probably going to run into another problem, but it does kind of make things a little bit easier in that regard.
Because I was going to ask, like, how are the scares? Because like I know I got a number of friends of mine where like that twisted, contorted, like scurrying at you, like that's the shit that scares them to no end. Like, have you had any good, like any big scares?
Not yet. And look, I'm not.
How are you playing it? Are you playing it like in the middle of the day with the lights on and the windows open, or
no,
with headphones on? Or
I'm playing at nighttime.
Got the lights off, headphones on, really loud.
Lights have been off. The headphones have been on sometimes and not others. I did. Your wife
can touch you on the shoulder. You shit your pants.
Wife went out for dinner the other night with a friend for her birthday, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go have a soak." Yeah, I'm oversharing here, but I just like filled up the bath, got down, hooked up.
You're sitting in the portal.
Started myself at one point, splashed quite a bit out of the bath for a second there. But, oh shit, mini flood. But it was. I'm having a really good time with it. It's more like, it's not really, at least so far, sorry, touch wood. So far, it's not big scares. It's more about mood and tension and setting.
Okay.
And
which is Silent Hill's kind of.
So it's that psychological horror versus jump scares.
Stuff, yeah. It's just this kind of looming something. And obviously, then when something does appear, it's not necessarily jump scaring you, but once something does appear, there's, oh shit, like I gotta quickly adjust, pivot to this.
Well, because as you said,
have you grab your trusty pipe and bash it around the head a few times, but then your sanity meter's at risk. You can kind of, there's like a focus ability that allows you to kind of help with the timing of when you strike them, but that also soaks up the sanity meter. Let alone if you get hit and you take damage, you're trying to manage a few different systems at once here, which also kind of adds to that pressure.
Because you're having that sort of like sense of foreboding as it just feels constantly tense. That gap from tense to scared is smaller because you're constantly at edge. I found that with with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Like there were moments where I'm just kind of walking down the street and just the way it's lit, the little sound effects you hear, like they kind of backed off on some of that ambient noise, like, or sound outside of like these metal dragging sounds and kind of groans and just environmental noise rather than like any sort of score. So it kind of leaves you feeling really weird. So when something goes blah, you go bah, because it's like the threshold is this much compared to say this much.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm enjoying what they've done so far. My understanding is I've probably got a good 7 hours or so left of game to play, and I'll do that this week. It's a weird, shitty time for me. My year 12s are about to get into exams. I've got to run a whole year 10 market day for the entire school later this week. Like there's a few things going on, let alone some of the redacted stuff that I'll be able to talk about soon enough.
Well, let's get into the next section. This is called Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Just conscious of time, as you mentioned. Now, Max, you've collated the news for us. Where are we kicking off?
All of these stories kind of play into each other, and it's all essentially about...
How many news bits you got? 1, 2, and then 3. All right. So
there's 3, and they all involve Tencent.
All right. Max, me, Padge. That's the order. Let's go. And then we'll just chat about it at the end.
Yeah, cool. So the ongoing war of words between Sony and Tencent's well-imbursed legal teams continues as Sony has hit back at Tencent over Horizon's knockoff Light of Motorum once more. You may recall that PlayStation sued the clone earlier this year, claiming Tencent had pitched it on a mobile version of Horizon Zero Dawn, which was rejected and later evolved into the copycat survival game it now is. Tencent rejected Sony's case, claiming it was suing the wrong entity and arguing that Horizon is not original in the slightest and features, quote, time-honored tropes embraced by scores of other games, including Far Cry and The Legend of Zelda. It said that PlayStation is seeking a, quote, impermissible monopoly on genre conventions and has asked for the case to be dismissed. Sony has struck back, calling Tencent's response nonsense as it works to get the game cancelled. In a 35-page document read by the Game Post, the manufacturer noted that any claims of the game being incomplete doesn't hold up, as its release date changed to 2027 after Sony sued. It pointed out that despite changes to the game's Steam page, which now show more generic artworks than before, promotional trailers still exist across YouTube and other storefronts. Quote, the damage is done and it continues, end quote. says Sony. The case adds, quote, although the public had expressed confusion and outrage upon discovering Light of Motorum for the lack of that it is, Tencent remained undeterred. Tencent continued promoting its infringing game over SIE's objection, and Tencent refused to accept any responsibility over its conduct, end quote. Sony has also accused Tencent of playing, quote, corporate hide-and-seek with its various entities and subsidiaries in order to avoid any responsibility. In its response, Tencent has argued that PlayStation actually sued the wrong company, as Tencent Holdings is simply a parent company unrelated to its various development studios. It counters, quote, Tencent Holdings describes its own business as having a games division that owns Aurora Studios, the Light of Motorum development studio. Tencent Holdings reports all of its revenue and debt from games on its annual report without attribution to any subsidiary, and it uses the name Tencent to advertise its games, like Light of Motorum, without distinguishing between subsidiaries. Sony says Light of Motorum ultimately, quote, jeopardizes Horizon's continued success, and it also went on to show some of the similarities between the ripoff's protagonists and Aloy. It's said that Horizon's heroine has become a brand identifier, and by using a similar character in Steam banners and websites, it's created confusion amongst consumers. Sony is now asking courts to deny Tencent's motion to dismiss the case, and presumably then we will move on to the next phase of all of this, which is to say it doesn't seem like neither Sony nor Tencent is willing to budge, which means we will possibly have a long and expensive legal battle ahead.
I do quite like the essential summary is, we didn't break the law, Bill did. Go yell at Bill, not us. But then the second part of this, because as I said, these are all connected, and then we'll be discussing at the end. Sony's live-action movie adaptation of Horizon will start shooting in 2026, with the company currently looking to lock down a director. According to court filings seen by the Game Post, the film already has a working script and is getting close to entering production. The company hopes to release the movie in 2027. In a statement submitted as part of the platform holder's legal proceedings with Tencent, as Max just mentioned, PS Productions boss Assad Quizzlebash, still a dope name, said, quote, we are in development for a film based on Horizon in partnership with Columbia Pictures. We already have a working script and are actively searching for a director, with a goal of shooting the picture in 2026 and releasing in 2027. The live-action film follows the recent collaborations between Columbia Pictures and PlayStation Productions on the 2020 film Uncharted and the 2023 film Gran Turismo, end quote. PlayStation, as we mentioned, is suing Tencent over copyright cat game Light of Motorum. The Horizon movie was officially announced at CES earlier in the year, but this is the first we've heard of any progress. Sony had previously planned to make a television series based on the post-apocalyptic franchise with Netflix, but that deal collapsed, forcing it to explore the possibility of a movie instead.
Which then links to part 3. Will it ever be The Last of Us? Sony allegedly traveled to Shenzhen in China in July 2024 to discuss the prospect of a mobile adaptation of The Last of Us with Tencent subsidiary Aurora Studios, the aforementioned Aurora Studios, the same team behind the sued Horizon ripoff Light of Motorum. The Game Post has been sharing fascinating new details from fresh court filings submitted earlier today, and it's the first time we've gotten an insight into PlayStation Mobile's efforts. The division fronted by former Zynga executive Olivier, that's a surname, which has yet to ship a product.
I think it's Court Manche.
Court Manche, yeah.
Court Manche, thank you.
She had a great time at school. You know. With a name like that, she had the best time at school. Kids are kind.
According to a testimony from Court Manche, so I'm just going to lean into it now. Sony met with Aurora Studios at GDC in 2024, where it pitched on previously reported Horizon spin-off for mobile. It's alleged this would later become Light of Motorum, but originally was intended to depict Aloy in an Asian setting with robotic creatures inspired by Chinese legends. Sony pretty promptly rejected the project in April 2024, a month after GDC, but it would later travel to China in July 2024 to meet with Aurora Studios again. What's fascinating about this is that Court Manche and his team believed they were visiting Shenzhen to see a mobile adaptation of The Last of Us, but were simply presented a version of Horizon again. Court Manche is quoted as saying, I recall the slide featured a female character with costume design resembling Horizon's mix of tribal clothing and metal armor, and a robot-animal hybrid resembling a Horizon robotic animal. Now that I've reviewed the promotional materials released for Light of Motorum, I believe that these images contained assets from the Light of Motorum game. was confused by the slide given that we had rejected a potential Horizon collaboration and thought we were there to discuss The Last of Us, among other opportunities. Sony is obviously using this detail to build a case against Tencent, but it also gives us some fascinating insight into the inner workings of PlayStation Mobile, a secretive division that the firm's been trying to get off the ground for several years now.
All right, that's a whole lot of things at once, a whole bunch of funny names. Padge, let's go. What's your thoughts?
Fuck off, Tencent. If we keep it really simple, fuck off.
You fuck off Tencent. Tencent fucks off you.
Yeah. Look, I mean, large chunks of this we've been talking about for now quite some time. It's just that, you know, we get little gentle updates that, you know, things that pop up through court, or we get updates when it comes to the Horizon movie, which then stirs the pot further and kind of, I guess, in some ways strengthens PlayStation's case or Sony's case in this thing. My thoughts, I guess, don't really deviate too much to what you guys have been discussing now for months on this show. And honestly, can be summarized pretty much with, fuck off Tencent.
It's an interesting space to be. So having now more information or over these documents or whatever are coming out, it is altering like kind of how I'm perceiving it. Now I'm very much in the fuck Tencent in this scenario. I love part of me loves the idea that they're like, hey, how about this idea? They went, no. And then, oh, how about you come over here? We'll show you something else. And you rock up and they go, it's the same. Like, fuck off.
Even Tencent knows that The Last of Us needs to be put away.
Like, would you? But that asks the bigger question. Excuse me. Were they more willing to then do something with The Last of Us, or is there like, okay, look, we'll take the pitch because what's the worst could happen? In the same way that they took that original pitch for Light of what would become Light of Motorum. So imagine they'd rock up going, okay, cool, we'll hear the pitch because if it's good, sweet. If it's not, okay,
we'll just say no.
We'll just say no. Excuse me. So the idea of being like lured there under this other Last of Us potential project to then
false
be offered
pretenses.
the same is funny because it's not us. But what I find it interesting and it makes sense from a tactical play of discussing things like the Horizon movie that is coming, you know, is a film in the coming years, because it's their main argument was essentially, pardon me, we see Horizon as a big time IP for us, so we're therefore going to be very protective of it. So much so that we have a movie coming out next year. We have, you know, this, that, the other. We cannot have it being watered down by this knockoff.
Shit.
Having what was their name? I'm just going to say it wrong on purpose.
Court
Manche. Court Manche, you know, actually been like, I remember seeing this thing and it looked like straight up copy then. And now that I'm seeing it again, I'm like, that's the same straight up copy that I saw. Is a really interesting way to go about it. And then to have them be that point of contact.
Is this a Power World 2.0 scenario where Sony are concerned that this will come out and it'll be that survival game that everyone wanted to play in universe?
Oh, like The Last of Us Online or whatever? Or,
no, so like...
we're going to get our Monster Hunter Horizon game.
You get your Monster Hunter Horizon game from this.
Is NC stuff still working on that?
Similar to what Power World did with Pokemon, of the... I get to capture them in the wild, I get to fight them in the wild, I get to ride them and play with them and do all those things in an open world environment.
And guns!
Yeah, look, guns aside... you know, is that a concern for them? They're like, oh shit, if someone builds a game that everyone's crying for and someone beats us to the punch, this will look bad for us.
Absolutely.
We've got to shut that shit down.
But wait, so
we got to invent some patterns to fuck them over with.
they're not quite there yet. I think the big difference is... Oh, actually, no, I might be wrong. I was going to say the big difference is this does seem a bit more like objectively a straight copy, but so did Power World. And in the same way that they ended up getting, what was his fucking name, Al Capone on tax evasion, not for the actual shit that he did, it does feel like that this is kind of in that same bracket. They're like, oh, you know, as you said, to prevent them from going down this path and actually making what could be...
Because like Horizon is definitely not the first post-apocalyptic tribal game.
Not even the first Robo Dino game.
Yeah.
Because like I agree, the sentence around it is not an original concept. No, nor has any piece of media. Like there are the 8 stories that will only ever be told. Last of Us is just another version of The Road. It can also be if you want to be that guy, it's also a different version of Logan, or Logan is a ripoff of The Last of Us. There's so many different things that play, and The Lion King as well. There's all these different things that are reminiscent of other things, but it's how you take that inspiration, it's how you take that influence and you adapt it. Excuse me. In the same way that this show is, when we originally built it, was a simile of the other PlayStation shows that we listened to at the time that weren't continuing anymore. So we created something similar but different by putting our spin on it. And over time, this show is nothing like the original, as we've built it and changed it over time as well. So like, there's nothing wrong with having your influences, having the things that helped get you to the idea that you have and deliver it the way you have, but you cannot blatantly copy something like the name of a podcast being For the Players, an actual trademark of a company.
I think you can.
Well, look, I said it directly to the head of marketing for Sony Australia, and they were like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, they didn't say that. They just didn't say anything. I was like, oh, I'll take that as a not no.
Silence is deafening.
After 400 episodes, bit hard to change the name, but I'm willing to if I have to. Anything, as you said, we've talked about this kind of at end. How about, let's just, lawsuit aside, Horizon movie. Where are your expectations at? Thumbs up from Padge?
I'm keen.
Thumbs up from me. I'm super keen.
Depends who's in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's your dream Aloy?
That
casting?
chick that banged Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. She was pretty cool.
She
also had red hair. No, not Sansa. Although she's pretty yoked these days, and she did not bang Jon Snow because it was her brother.
Oh. Yeah, sorry, hang on. I was just mixed my characters up.
You mean Kit Harington?
Yeah, there we go.
Kit Harington's actual wife.
I mean, to be fair, there's plenty of incest in that show.
Oh,
anyway,
there's
so
so much incest.
Why would you?
The wildling chick that was like
not his brother.
Yeah, sorry.
Not his brother.
Oh yeah, he was a bastard. They could have smashed, and it probably would have been the only smash in that show that wouldn't be creepy. It would still be creepy, but less like directly creepy, I guess.
What about the redheaded chick from
Egret.
Stranger Things?
Egret from Stranger Things.
Lady Sink.
Oh yeah.
Who's apparently gonna be like a Gwen Stacy in the upcoming Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, like I like how we just like no one's gonna dye their hair. We have to. This is cultural appropriation.
It has to be a redhead.
It has to be a ranger. You can't just make someone a ginger. They got to live that ginger life. They need to know the experience of being a modern outcast. So when they then go into the world of Horizon, they understand what it's like to be a future outcast in the post-apocalyptic world. Was it sorry, Max?
Isla Fisher.
I love Isla Fisher. She would be fantastic. She's
no.
also way too old. Like she'd maybe make a good Elizabeth potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the other thing you've got to consider as well. Because
Because CG and aging doesn't
man,
exist.
Look, I was listening to Sacred earlier today, and they talked about something I completely forgot about. They mentioned like the voice acting of Erika Ishii when she's playing the younger version of her, and I forgot about it. They just pitch her up. They just like they don't even like get her to record it. They just literally grab it and go boop, just add a couple up a bit. It's so asshole. So I hope they don't. They're happy to have like two different Aloy, Aloy and Elizabeth. Like that'd be sick, but they have to pay two people. And how can you find two gingers in this world?
They will just CG age her. That is the smart play.
Not the good play, but the smart play.
I think the biggest loss is going to be not having
That's
well maybe, but not having fucking Commander Zavala in the movie because he's no longer with us.
Yeah, it's true. The lack of that guy with the awesome name and awesome voice.
I cannot think of his name.
Lance Reddick.
Lance Reddick.
Thank you.
Without having Lance is going to be a bit of a problem. You need another black gentleman with a good voice. when Christopher
Morgan Freeman.
Judge is done playing God of War for the Netflix or the Amazon series, bring him across. He's the guy. He's the man. Oh, who's the guy that does the voice of Hermes Conrad in Futurama? Get him to do it. That'd be funny.
Just bring Morgan Freeman in. You'll be right.
Ooh, that would be a dope one. I was going to go to the guy that played Afro Samurai. He's also had a pretty dope voice. Anyway, any other thoughts around Horizon and Tencent outside of a fuck Tencent?
No.
Not particularly.
Easy done. Well, let's jump into those quick biddies. Only a couple this week. As we mentioned earlier, Battlefield 6 has currently sold over 7 million copies in its first 3 days. That's amazing. This one is interesting, though. Bluepoint are currently recruiting for a third-person melee action game. Now, the thing that's interesting about the immediate presumption for most people on the internet is this is either a Bloodborne remake based on purely Bluepoint's previous work with Demon Souls remake for the PS5 launch, or it is a God of War remake in some capacity, as they had just been brought off the multiplayer games as a service God of War title. Padge, which do you think is more likely? Or is it just another game?
Tell you what, it's not fucking Bloodborne.
This is a team that, like, what was that?
I said, I'll tell you what, it's not fucking Bloodborne.
Yeah, we speak pretty confidently
Yes,
say
it's
it's
not
not Bloodborne.
I think they want to kind of...
Samuel L. Jackson.
Relationship
Sorry, mute in the chat. Samuel L. Jackson as Lance Reddick characters. I'm sick of these motherfucking robots and this motherfucking world.
Plane. Flat plane.
Yeah, this flat plane. Actually, that would be kind of dope. You may have it. Sorry, back to topic at hand.
Look, I don't care. Give me a remake. That's what you're there to do. Give me a remake. But at the same time, yeah, obviously they allegedly worked. Well, sorry, they were working on a God of War multiplayer project. Maybe they can reuse some of those assets for a God of War remake of some sort, or a trilogy of God of War remakes if we get really hopeful. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. Like PlayStation already fucked this team around a bit now, so I'll just be grateful that they're still in one piece at the end of it all. Hopefully,
Max.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't deep down in my heart of hearts, I would love for it to be Bloodborne, but it's not going to be. Yeah, the most likely scenario is they're going to reuse they're going to roll over the assets that they had from what they were working on previously, and they'll pump out a whatever becomes God of War, whether it be like a remake of 1 and 2. Maybe they'll just be like, fuck it, let's just do 3 and be done with it.
Maybe they're really going balls to the wall because there's all this talk about. Well, it's not talk. Sorry, it's a thing that's happening.
The 2.5D.
I was just going to say the fans that are saving Mod Nation Races at the moment, just go and remake Mod Nation Races.
Well, we'll jump into that in just one sec. So for myself, when it comes to this Bluepoint thing, I'm more inclined to believe that it is either something completely different, which is I'm not the only one to have this sentiment, which I certainly hope it isn't. The idea of putting Bluepoint on anything that is not a remake or a remaster seems an absolute misuse of why you bought them. In the same way that we're not hearing about these new games that Nixxes are making, because that's not what they're to do. Valkyrie, they have Valkyrie. We haven't heard them do shit. You know why? Because they're a support studio. That is what they are there to do. No one is forcing Valkyrie to go make their own game. And it's bizarre. And I understand that, as a studio, you kind of want to be more than that, more than just like, this is the thing that we do. And I imagine many folks that work over at Halo Studios, or what was the Gears of War studio used to be called? Didn't they rename themselves as well?
No, so they've been called the Coalition now since All right,
cool. Oh yeah, so the Halo.
Obviously, it was Epic for years, and then a studio was formed called the Coalition that then took on Gears.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember because I know Halo changed from 343 to Halo. I couldn't remember if Coalition changed their name as well. So thank you for the correction. So I'm personally, being the God of War fan that I am, hoping that it is that there is really no way to play 1 or 2 outside of the PS3 collection. Same goes for the PSP releases. If I'm being truly honest, what I would utterly love to see would be something similar to the Metal Gear Solid Legacy collection, and they just kind of up-res them in such a way, and you go, hey, here's 1, 2, Ghost of Sparta, Chains of Olympus, and Ascension, all in one package.
And for a lull, go and toss Betrayal, that shitty-ass mobile game, in there too.
You could put it in there if you felt the need. I would encourage you not to, but you could. But like, because we know that with that last state of play, there is that what I consider to be a beautifully simple DualSense with the Kratos design on it, which is reminiscent of the great. Don't you roll your eyes at me, you motherfucker. Controller's great.
We've both got one on order. We're both picking him up this week. It's going to be great.
Ridiculous.
I know you are.
Can't wait for my red tape controller.
Oh, man, I'm going to play that thing so fucking hard. You have no idea.
You'll never use it. You'll put it on your shelf.
Actually, no, I'm putting it on the shelf. I'm probably going to put it on the shelf.
2 controller, and you're just going to ditch it for God of War.
No, I'll put it on the shelf next to the custom one that Ethan made for me. But that was kind of where I would hope it would go into some sort of God of War-esque remake, mostly because it does, with the announcement of that controller, there was clearly should have been something announced alongside it, which would be that 2.5D Metroidvania that we've heard of. And with them hiring for this now, it's probably, if it is a brand new title, it's going to be 4 or 5 years away. If it is a string of remasters and remakes, maybe a couple years away.
If you look at the advertisement for what they're hiring for like
it's generic as shit. It sounds like everything Blue Point's ever done.
It's got like level design with like puzzles and other things. So clearly they're making Sly Cooper.
Well, that's another side topic. So over the week, Sucker Punch collectively, or the head of Sucker Punch, whose name escapes me right now,
Nate Fox,
thank you. Essentially, it's like, hey, we're a one game studio. Not sure what we're going to do next. We could do some infamous remakes, which is a choice. We could do Sly, which is also a fucking choice. Max, seeing as you mentioned it, do you want to see a Sly Cooper remake?
No.
Or reboot?
Really?
Beautiful. Padge?
Yeah, but don't get Sucker Punch to do it. Like, you gotta farm that stuff out in the same way that Sanzaru went and did the trilogy and then went and developed their own game. Go find a team who maybe is looking for an opportunity as well, who's got some chops but is looking for an opportunity to demonstrate what they can do, and toss them the reins.
Yeah, look, I'm in the same boat. I don't have an emotional connection to Sly Cooper. I have, for the life of me, I think I played one for about 10 minutes. It just never sung to me in any way. So it's I think about it the same way I think about everyone's like, oh man, Naughty Dog should go back to Jack. They should go back to Crash. I'm like, fuck off, they should. No way. There's an absolute misuse and waste of those talent. And even then, I can say pretty confidently, outside of a couple, let's say it's Sucker Punch in terms of that lead, very few of them from the major dev team were likely Sly developers. Same as Naughty Dog, right? Many people that made Crash or made Jack aren't there anymore, because if they are people that want to make platformers, then they shouldn't be at that studio anymore, because that is not what they're making, nor what they should be making.
Well, that's when you get scenarios like, and I obviously referenced Yooka before. It's when you go off and you form your own studio and you go and do that stuff, and that's when ex-Banjo guys go and make Yooka.
Exactly, and in the same way that we saw recently with the likes of Patapon and Hot Shots Golf, PlayStation are willing to give their IP out to other publishers to make something cool. So, do I think Sly Cooper has enough, cultural resonance now to be a worthwhile reboot? Fucking no. Outside of the diehards that give a shit, even then they're probably dwindling at best. Because we go on social media, we hear about all these people that are really adamant and like, oh man, I would absolutely fucking love if they remade this, if they did that, and then they do it and no one buys it. Like Medieval, like Legacy of Kain. There are so many of these like cult classics that get redone and they don't move appropriate numbers to have made it worthwhile, if I'm being honest.
I think the likes of Medieval is even further, and I know that's just one example, but I think that's even further down the pile than something like a Sly or a Jack, etc. But it's also just scope and scale. Like, if you can get the right team and the right budget, this thing doesn't need to sell a hell of a lot to be justified financially, especially if you can partner up with your Bandai Namco if you're like, or someone else.
If you're doing like that Legacy of Kain remaster or whatever, we can click a button and it jumps between the two, then yeah, it's a relatively inexpensive compared to like a full-blown reboot. It's the same way that the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy did gangbusters, but Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time did not. Right? Like, the idea is there and everyone's like, woo! But the second that, card has to go on FPOS machine, people become less inclined to want to hang about in it. But speaking of putting card to FPOS machine, these are the games that are coming out this week. On the 21st of October, you have Jurassic World Evolution 3 coming to PS5, which I totally forgot was like right around the corner, because that's also a fun as fuck game. I really enjoyed too. Ninja Gaiden 4 also coming to the PS5. Painkiller PS5 as well. After like what feels like 3 different draft lists, Max, that never came to fruition. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is coming to PS5 finally. Wasn't that the one that was indefinitely delayed?
Yep.
Well,
I still want to play it.
On top of that, these are the games that are coming to PlayStation Extra. That is Silent Hill 2, Until Dawn. That is the new one, not the PS4 one, the PS5 one. As Dusk Falls, which is a game that's weirdly intrigued me. V Rising, which I know you had messed with in the past, Max, or were interested in.
I've messed with it.
Yakuza Like a Dragon is on there as well. A game that my son adores. For whatever reason, it's not a very long experience, but it's Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 and a Wizard with a Gun. And for those that are silly and have the premium and or deluxe version, you get what is arguably, in my opinion, one of the best fucking fighters to ever go on PlayStation, and is Tekken 3. The only other one being Soul Blade on PS1, which I do hope comes to premium one day. That would make me do it. But then on the 22nd of October, you get Dispatch for PS5, Red X, PS5, PS4, Tormented Souls 2, PS5, and because you really want PTSD for some reason, Trenches VR. My presumption was a war game. It might just be a game about digging holes. It's just a castle game. And on 23rd of October, you get Angry Video Game Nerd 8-Bit, PS5, PS4, Becastled, PS5, Bloodshed, PS5, PS4, Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of the Graveyard Clem, PS5, Double Dragon Revive, PS5, PS4, Full Metal Schoolgirl, that's an interesting erection. PS5, Godbreakers, PS5, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. Yeah, Challenging Wank. Yeah, I was trying to think of the fucking reference from 9 out of 10 Cats. I fucking love that one so much. Yeah, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. Power Wash Simulator 2. Fuck yeah. I requested a code for that like months ago. I remember the mailer thing came through and I was like, sure, having no idea when it was coming out. Science Skaters, PS5, Jackbox Party Pack 11, The Lonesome Guild, and on the 24th of October, busy fucking week, Dora Rainforest Rescue, PS5, PS4, Fast and the Furious Arcade Edition, woohoo, Once Upon a Jester, PS5, Once Upon a Katamari, PS5, Hot Wheels Let's Race Ultimate Speed, PS5, and the House of the Dead 2 remake, PS5, PS4. What are the standouts, gents? What's
So I've pulled up Trenches VR because I am.
Is it a war game? Is it World War?
It is a war game. So Trenches VR puts you in the boots of World War I soldier trapped behind enemy lines in this claustrophobic nightmare. Fight for your life and your sanity as you navigate the horrors of war. Your only goal is to return to your family. Blah, blah, blah. Warning, this game contains disturbing imagery, intense jump scares, and psychological horror not suitable for all players. Play at your own risk. Enemies can hear your voice, your breathing, and your every move that you make through your microphone. Stay quiet, stay hidden, or they'll find you. Collect clues, uncover the truth, and use your whistle to guide your way. But beware, every sound could give away your position.
What entertains me about that is like suddenly you need to go to therapy for fucking shell shock, and all you've been doing is playing PSVR 2.
It's just a hot day, so you're like, everyone's just fucking...
Well, we're about to hit into summer, and we've got the VR on. There's going to be heavy ass breathing. Like it gets swampy up in that bitch. Yeah. Max, so is that the game for you? That's the one that's sitting here?
Oh god, no, shouldn't. It's very, very clearly the difficult wank. Where was it?
The challenging wank.
Power Wash 2.
Yeah. Full Metal Schoolgirl.
Yeah, Full Metal Schoolgirl. No, big one for me this week is Ninja Gaiden would be nice to play, but Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Patch.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's definitely a big one. I would recommend, so like we kind of just powered on through it because there's a name, it doesn't tell us a hell of a lot. The Lonesome Guild is a game published by Don't Nod.
Ooh, okay. For the Life is Strange fame, for those playing.
We've got Jess working on the game for Player 2 at the moment. I've deliberately not asked questions about it, but it's kind of roguelike-y, my understanding. Plants vs Zombies replanted. I'm pretty keen, just to go back.
It's been a little while. Is this like a back to the grid based?
This is OG.
Yes.
This is OG. This is the first one re-released.
Yeah, when they did Was it Garden Warfare, I was like, nah. I did thoroughly enjoy it on my phone.
This is the original and the best.
That's got my attention.
And just for a bit of extra context, because Max was talking about Bloodlines 2. The game is currently sitting on a 64 on Metacritic.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be good.
The dog turd.
Yeah, a game that's been indefinitely delayed.
It got indefinitely delayed for a reason.
Yeah, it doesn't tend to come back.
It looked like a turd when they first announcement.
Yes,
and it turns out it was one. But Power Wash, pretty keen to power wash some shit.
For me, I'm probably in the same boat. Jurassic World Evolution would be fun to mess with, but Power Wash Simulator 2 may be the one, I think, out of this list. But that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you for everyone for joining us. Big thank you to yourself, both you gents, for coming on through. As I said, for the first of the season, of the Triple Threat season of the summer. Padge, before we jump on out, obviously because you do things outside of here at For the Players, you got anything that you want to push, promote, whatever?
Any
reviews coming out this week?
Still knocking out some previews from PAX. I got some stuff out for Kirby and for Pokemon. I'll put a preview out there for Hyrule Warriors as well. And probably knock out a few other things around some of the smaller stuff that's there. Reviews. The Redacted one isn't this week, so I've still got a bit of extra time up my sleeve with that one. Yeah, mostly pretty quiet week, just kind of plugging away, getting on top of stuff, which is good because this week's nuts in my work life. Yeah,
well, I'm very curious what to discuss about off air. Mute in the chat does confirm that Power Wash Simulator 2 is only $24.99 US. That's cheaper than I expected.
$900 dues.
Yeah, it's about $14,000.
So like $85.
In this economy, that's crazy. All right, let's get out of here.
All right, everybody, you know the drill. This PlayStation conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, you can. Check out those socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, X. Those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, which I never update, so don't worry about it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And I'm Paul James.
And that was For the Players.